Tonight on VCU InSight.
The health of the James River raises concern for many residents.
VCU men's soccer becomes nationally recognized.
And the Metro Richmond Zoo welcomes 5 furry friends.
All this and more, VCU InSight starts right now.
Good evening, and welcome to VCU InSight. I'm Joel Rhodes.
And I'm Rebecca Hayslip. Thanks for joining us. It's a popular spot for families, fishermen, and boaters to enjoy, but it may not be entirely healthy.
The James River isn't making the grade with a local organization, and InSight's Kyrie Stewart is in our newsroom to tell us why. Good evening, Kyrie.
Good evening, Joel. According to officials, this is an issue that can lead to much bigger problems if ignored. Pollution levels were high in past reports on the James, so this is something that they take very seriously.
There's something in the James.
Well, I would never swim in the river.
And some think it's given the entire Richmond area a dirty image.
I think that's pretty bad because that affects our tourism and it affects our economy.
The James River Association, a local non-profit environmental group, issues a report card for the river every 2 years. The latest report graded the health of the James at a C. James River Association CEO Bill Street says that the river's health is an ongoing issue that needs to be addressed.
We haven't seen the progress that we'd really like to see.
The report card graded the river in categories of habitat, pollution, fish and wildlife, and restoration efforts.
The largest score decline was in the pollution category, which fell 11% from last year. And according to the association, recent efforts to reduce pollution have stalled.
Those efforts include education programs, river improvement projects, and work with city and state government for funding. In the meantime, the association continues to try to boost the quality and look of the river.
We work with communities up and down the river to do projects that will improve the river, and we work with our policymakers in particular to make sure that the programming and the funding is there to really make additional progress.
Progress the association hopes will help the James ace the next test with a little work and awareness.
Now, the report notes that even though pollution levels are high, it's not affecting wildlife, as the number of bald eagles continue to rise on the James. Back to you, Rebecca.
Thanks, Kyrie. A food pantry for VCU students is expected to open the spring of 2014. VCU Student Counseling Service and 3 student campus ministries will provide food for students in need. Once the pantry is open, it will be based out of the Baptist Campus Ministry on Cathedral Place on VCU's campus.
After 4 months of delays, the wait is over. Richmond City Council came to the decision to deny a Churchill Coffee Shop's appeal for a new special use permit. InSight's Emily Satchel has more on the story.
Captain Buzzys Beanery operates under a special use permit in a neighborhood zoned strictly for housing. In June, the cafe appealed to City Council to extend their hours and to sell beer and wine. Now, the battle is over and the people have spoken. Buzzys won't be getting the revised permit.
And oppose this amended SUP.
I would oppose this.
I urge you to vote no.
The appeal stirred up a reaction from neighbors, so much so that the Churchill Association sponsored an advertisement on local TV, bashing Buzzys.
Stop the coffee shop from getting buzzed, or this could be your neighborhood next.
Owner Bob Buffington defended Buzzys before Richmond City Council.
My coffee shop has often been referred to as a major contributor to the success of the neighborhood.
The shop has been here for 10 years, and residents, like Brittany McBean, have grown very attached to the cafe.
That's actually, my husband and I had our first date there, so I kind of love the place.
Now the future of Buzzys is in question. Buffington declined to speak since the appeal was denied. That leaves McBean, along with others, in fear of losing the cafe altogether.
If they don't have that, those extra hours and the extra revenue, they'll be able to stay open, which I think is a real shame and would be a big loss to the Churchill community.
Richmonders are still speaking out against the decision, including an online petition in favor of the appeal. But for now, Richmond City Council has spoken.
Captain Buzzys.
For VCU InSight, I'm Emily Satchel.
Twitter was flooded with commentary after the meeting. There was little opposition against the appeal under the RVA Council hashtag, but many criticized Richmond City Council for its decision.
Virginia is holding its second annual Hard Cider Week the third week of November. Virginia is the 6th largest apple producer and the first state to have a week to dedicate to the local ciders. The state currently has 7 cider breweries participating in the week's event, including downtown Richmond's Blue Bee. The week is filled with tastings, workshops, and festivals around the state.
An international movement promoting world literacy lands in Richmond. Communities from Glen Allen to Lakeside are owners of something called the Little Free Library. InSight's Nana Bonsu reports.
Barbara McCreary spent 15 years as a librarian for Henrico Public Schools. She's running a library again, and this time it's in front of her lawn. And she just celebrated its grand opening in mid-September.
Had a big party, and I had a chance to meet neighbors that I don't think I would have met otherwise. And so I think it's drawing us together.
It's called Little Free Library, a book exchange movement that started in Wisconsin to promote reading and literacy. The libraries are in over 55 countries with 12,000 libraries built and counting. There are currently 5 Little Free Libraries registered in Richmond. If a library is registered through the organization's website, readers are able to locate the library on the website's map. The rules of the Little Free Library are easy. Just grab a book or 2 and enjoy it. Readers are encouraged to return the book or trade them in at another free library in the community. The libraries are not only located in residential communities, but coffee shops as well. Jackie Malino is the manager of a Starbucks in downtown Richmond. She says having the free little library in the shop adds to the customer's experience.
When it comes down to it, like coffee shops have always been that like second home kind of feeling, and then with a little library, I mean, it just adds like the final touch.
The libraries are filled with a wide variety of books, from children's books to romance novels. McCreary encourages all members of the community to visit her library.
Well, I just think this is a great time for us to share the love of literacy and reading, and it can bring us all together.
Bringing us together one book at a time. With VCU InSight, I'm Nana Bonsu.
If you have books you'd like to donate to a Little Free Library, visit littlefreelibrary.org.
A new baseball stadium has been the buzz of Richmond. Major Dwight Jones announced this week new plans for Shockoe Bottom, including a new stadium for the Richmond Flying Squirrels. InSight's Philip Marcello is in the studio today with more.
I'm here with John Laser. He's Director of Broadcasting for the Richmond Flying Squirrels. And we're talking about the future of baseball in Richmond. John, thanks for being here.
Absolutely, Phil. My pleasure.
Speaking of the future of baseball in Richmond, yesterday Mayor Dwight Jones, he announced a plan to have a stadium in Shockoe Bottom. He said he wants it open in 2016 for the first pitch. What was your and maybe the organization's initial reaction when you guys heard that?
I think the initial reaction is excitement, and I know that somewhat it was a blunt announcement when it seemingly came out of nowhere, but for us it hasn't been. This has been the culmination of efforts behind the scene, not only by the mayor but by our staff as well, for the last 9 months concretely on this plan, but for us since the day we got here, which was October 1, 2009. So, you know, the fact that it's moving forward and the fact that the conversation has started and people are a part of that and we have a firm grasp on where it's going to be, and it's not just talking about speculative, maybe it was here and maybe it was there. That's exciting because you can negate some of the negatives and you can also promote a lot of the positives when you know where it is. So it was an exciting day and one that we think will be remembered historically.
Yeah, now speaking of the stadium, we have some shots of the old stadium. This one would be down in Shockoe Bottom as part of the Revitalize RVA program, and he wants to have apartments, a hotel, all sorts of stuff surrounding it. What could you say about maybe all that stuff that would surround it that would go into adding to the atmosphere of the ballpark?
Well, I think one of the biggest detractions from plans like this are a lot of cities have said, we'll build a stadium and then the other stuff will sprout up around it, seemingly a cause and effect, whereas we build the ballpark and then restaurants and hotels and grocery stores and residential areas are going to follow. And sometimes that's worked. There are examples where that has been an effective plan, and then sometimes it doesn't because for whatever reason economically it hasn't worked out. What I think is the most exciting part about this Revitalize RVA plan that Mayor Jones and his staff have done a phenomenal phenomenal job putting together is the fact that they already have these pieces in place. As he said yesterday, these are not speculative measures. This is not wishful thinking. Kroger's already on board. Hyatt is already on board. We already know who the developers are and have a plan for what the apartment buildings and the parking structure will look like. So it's not as though here comes the ballpark and then these other things hopefully will follow. It's here's these things first and then we're going to build the ballpark in the middle of it. So that's what I think makes it unique.
Now, kind of staying on that subject, why do you think baseball is important to the city of Richmond?
Because I'm involved in it. No, I mean, I think that when you look at cities, and sports play a factor in people's lives at a different degree. You know, for you and I know you personally, we like sports. We enjoy sports. We enjoy being a part of those. So it's where we get our entertainment, and it's a lot of times where we're involved with professionally. And some people might not like sports, you know, I mean, that might not be their thing. But at the same time, I think that it's important in terms of the overall stability of a city to have things that you go to that are part of your entertainment fabric. And for baseball, it's so rich in its history here in Richmond, going all the way back more than 100 years. This was a historical place in terms of a lot of things, you know, in terms of cultural relevance, and baseball being one of the biggest parts of, you know, the great American pastime. So I think it's something that it's important to a lot of people, and some may say it shouldn't be, but that's not really their right to say. So, you know, it's going to be, baseball is going to be a part of Richmond in some way, shape, or form, and I think there are so many people here that want to protect it and continue to make it not just here, not just something that we somewhat have, but something that we have and is in a big way. And as Mayor Jones said yesterday, this is going to be the best ballpark in minor league baseball. And I think, you know, myself and Todd Parnell and Chuck Domino, we don't do things halfway. You know, it's important to us that it's important to the people of Richmond. So I think it's going to continue to be, whether or not it's in a new ballpark in Shockoe.
Well, I've been speaking with John Laser of the Flying Squirrels on the importance of baseball and their organization's success in Richmond. Thanks for being here, John.
You got it, Phil.
It's been a year since VCU lost its veteran baseball coach to cancer. InSight's Shelly Andrews shows us what the team did this past season to honor his lasting legacy.
Gone but not forgotten. Something most VCU baseball players could say about Coach Paul Keyes, who lost his battle with cancer last fall. Keyes led the VCU Rams baseball team to 603 victories in 18 seasons. The team is now led by Coach Sean Stifler, who, after coaching under Keyes for 6 seasons, admits he has some big shoes to fill.
I don't really think about trying to replace Coach Keyes because you can't.
Coach Stifler says that while there are many pieces of advice and pearls of wisdom that Coach Keyes passed on to him, there is one thing that crosses his mind every time the team takes the field.
He was very, very big on reminding me that the program belonged to the players in the program, and that it was never bigger, you know, no one was ever bigger than it, and that no matter what happened, it had to be for the benefit of the players and to keep it in the hands of the players.
One of those players, senior pitcher Ryan Farrar, says that Coach Keyes had a huge impact on him and continues to do so.
I'm still kind of learning things that he told me years ago and recently that I didn't understand then and kind of starting to understand now.
The VCU baseball team is honoring Coach Paul Keyes by wearing his number on their hats.
It's important to us. It's important to us to never forget him and the impact that he had on all of us, especially this team.
VCU's decision of whether or not to retire Keyes' number 5 is still unclear at this time, but many of the players are hopeful that they will. At the Diamond, for VCU InSight, I'm Shelly Andrews.
VCU Baseball will also partner with rival and Keyes alma mater, ODU, every year for the Key Dog Strikeout Cancer Classic. All proceeds from the game will go to fund cancer research.
VCU women's soccer hosted their first ever Atlantic 10 tournament. The tournament's championship game was between the Explorers of LaSalle University and the Rudy Flyers of the University of Dayton. After 2 overtimes and penalty kicks, LaSalle won 5-4. VCU was knocked out by Dayton in the first round. When you think of VCU athletics, men's basketball is normally the first thing that comes to mind, but men's soccer is also gaining national attention. InSight's Vernon Freeman is in our newsroom with more on the team. Hello, Vernon.
Good evening, Joel. The VCU men's soccer team finished the regular season in 3rd place of the Atlantic 10. The team has 10 wins so far, but it's the caliber of the wins that's made this season so memorable. The VCU men's soccer team is on a roll. The team has reached their highest ranking in 9 years.
Those are things I'm going to remember for the rest of my life.
VCU had one of the toughest schedules in the country, which includes 8 teams ranked in the preseason top 25. Head coach Dave Gifford says this schedule was a huge step for the Rams to become a better team.
We've been building each year to try to build and create a program that year in and year out can be among the best programs in the country.
Senior leader Garrett Harvey says early season wins over top 15 ranked Maryland and Akron has made the team battle tested.
Beating those big teams gives us confidence that we know we can beat anyone in the country, and definitely which helps us coming into this last stretch. So.
VCU men's soccer continued to raise their national profile with a 6-game unbeaten streak and wins over St. Louis and the defending national champion Indiana Hoosiers. Former VCU midfielder Joseph Habush now plays professionally and says he still feels connected to the team.
Expectations have changed. We realistically, we're one of the few teams, in the nation that realistically sets a goal to win the national title each year.
Habush says he would be surprised if VCU doesn't get into a national championship game within the next few years.
I know VCU is going to be there, it's just a matter of when.
Gifford says the VCU soccer program isn't in the elite group yet, but they are now relevant and a contender.
Everybody in the country knows who VCU soccer is in the college soccer circles, and that was not the case.
In a season of excitement and new heights on the field, the Rams look to continue their winning in the postseason. On November 14th through the 17th, the Rams are competing in the A10 Conference Tournament in Dayton, Ohio. The winner will receive an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Back to you, Rebecca.
Thanks, Vernon. Over 75 VCU students donated nearly 600 gently worn coats and other winter clothing as part of the Nearly Naked Mile. Students got nearly naked, or not, and some warmed up with some dancing and hot chocolate. The students ran 2 laps around Carey Street Field to get the experience of what it's like to be without a coat in the winter. All the clothes went to Home Again Richmond, an organization that assists homeless families and individuals in Metro Richmond. The event was organized by the group Students Today, Alumni Tomorrow. This year's donations more than doubled the amount from last year.
With over 2.5 million people incarcerated in the U.S. annually, some VCU students are putting pen to paper to write to them. Founder and VCU professor Liz Canfield is in the studio with InSight's Paisley Winkler to tell us more about the program.
Sounds cool. Yeah. I'm here with VCU assistant professor Liz Canfield. She is the founder of Jail Mail. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And Jail Mail has been around for a couple of years at VCU. What is it? Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Sure. We started it 3 years ago, and it grew up out of a class that I teach in our department at the Richmond City Jail when we realized that a lot of folks don't get mail during mail call, and so we decided that we would start a letter writing kind of campaign here at VCU, first to support the folks in the Richmond City Jail, but then it's grown to, we write folks in the jail, but also people on a national list as well.
And with this letter campaign, do you receive letters back from the prisoners? Or?
Absolutely, yes. We've sent quite a few letters out, and we get, anywhere from 10 to 20 letters back every week. So,
and, how many people kind of come to this event, and how long is the event?
Well, it's every Monday from 1 to 3, and it's a drop-in kind of thing. So folks come in between classes, or a lot of people will stop and eat their lunch and write a letter, whatever. And so about every week we get about 15 to 20 people who drop in, write a letter, and leave. And it's not always the same group of people. When folks get a letter back, we email them so they can come by and pick them up. But yeah.
And we actually have some footage of a previous week at Jail Mail, so let's have some footage. As you can see, there's a student writing a letter, and that's and you can not only write letters, you can also take draw pictures and do poems and everything. Do you ever keep them in the office at all, the letters returned, or?
No, the folks who write the letters actually keep the letters that are returned. So another thing that we do during that time is we make zines, which are small homemade publications that have visual art, poetry, etc., that come up out of the workshops that we teach on Fridays in the jail. And so, It's always a flurry of activity. Some people working on zines, some people writing letters, some people just dropping by to talk about things, related to that.
And you personally have written letters for quite some time. Would you
Yeah.
mind telling us your kind of story on
Sure.
why you started writing to inmates?
Yeah, so I started as a teenager because I had gone to this rally, a rally about mass incarceration, and I always said to myself, well, what can I do? And I'd picked up a pamphlet that was like, one way to support people who are incarcerated is to write them letters and just, to cultivate pen pals. So I started that when I was a teenager, and then had been doing that, on and off for the last 20 years. And so more recently, in the last 5 years, getting involved, with merging my teaching with my activism, that's how the letter writing thing kind of came back into a larger project, but yeah.
And is there any other information you'd like to tell us about Jail Mail here at VCU?
Sure, anybody can come. It's 1 to 3 every Monday in the Crenshaw House, which is 919 West Franklin Street. We usually have snacks or something there as well. It's drop-in only. We have lists there for folks. We coach people and train people on how to write letters, and then we'll let folks know when the letters come back. And it's you just got to bring yourself. That's it.
That sounds great. And I've been speaking with Liz Canfield about VCU Jail Mail. Again, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And you teach some jail class.
The Virginia Museum of Fine Arts is the only venue on the East Coast showcasing the Hollywood costume exhibition. A variety of costumes worn by famous movie actors and actresses of the 20th and 21st centuries are on display. Some of the costumes featured include Tippi Hedren's blouse from Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds and Kate Winslet's dress from Titanic. The exhibit will be open through February the 17th.
Some University of Richmond students are being joined on campus by unusual college companions, dogs. It's part of a program to train the animals to be seeing eye dogs for the blind. And right now, they're taking part in all aspects of campus life. InSight's Carter Johnson has more.
All day, every day, Quincy is by Chris Sylvie's side. Sylvie is a junior at the University of Richmond, majoring in finance and accounting. Quincy accompanies him around campus and even sits in on Chris's study time.
I gotta work my schedule around him, essentially.
This is because Quincy is one of 2 guide dogs living and training with students here at the University of Richmond University Forest Apartments. Sylvie came up with the idea and started the club through a partnership with Guiding Eyes for the Blind. The idea came from a professor who raised a guide dog Sylvie's freshman year.
Through her, I developed this program whereby students could actually raise their own guide dogs as well.
Sylvie and 2 other student volunteers are responsible for teaching the dogs how to behave in real-life situations. Regional Coordinator Joyce Dixon, who is training a dog of her own, says that the partnership is great for raising awareness.
Every time someone sees a dog, they usually ask a question. They want to touch it or pet it to begin with. And as soon as they do that, then it's a snowball.
Sylvie and Dixon both hope that more students will get involved with the program.
Right now we have 2 dogs, and I would just love to see it get up to maybe 3, 4 after I graduate.
As for now, it's still Chris and Quincy side by side. For VCU InSight, I'm Carter Johnson.
The students will raise the dogs until summer break, when the pups will be sent to New York for the next step in training. Other schools that take part in campus training for CNI dogs are Wake Forest, Cornell, and Delaware.
The Metro Richmond Zoo has added a new addition to their family, 5 baby cheetahs. The litter is only the 3rd to be born in the nation. InSight's Natasha Haskamp has a first look at the new babies.
Here they are, the 5 baby cheetahs that caused a stir.
And this is the first birth here at the Metro Richmond Zoo, and we are excited.
The 3 males and 2 females were born just a couple of weeks ago. Zoo director Jim Andelin says breeding cheetahs is not an easy task. They must be separated and in their own habitat. He's excited that Lana, the mother, gave birth to the healthy cubs.
We're pretty excited about having that opportunity here at the Metro Richmond Zoo and being successful. We're hoping it's not just beginner's luck with this first one. We hope to have many more births.
The baby cheetahs are not on display at the moment. The location of where they're currently being held is not for the general public. Zookeeper Jennifer Hollenbeck also has limited access to the baby cubs as well.
Since they've been born, I've only been out there 2 times. We're trying to let mom bond with the cheetahs, so we're trying to keep the keepers kind of at a distance as much as we can, just to give them as much time to get used to each other, get to know each other.
Zoo officials say the cheetahs will be here for the next year. In the meantime, the public can watch the baby cheetahs and their daily activities through a webcam that will be put up. Andelin says the baby cubs are his top priority, and they are more than taken care of.
We're really keeping a close eye on them and making sure they're growing up healthy, and so far they're in great shape.
It will be a while before anyone can see them. Andelin hasn't confirmed when they will be on public display. For VCU InSight, I'm Natasha Haskamp.
So has anybody seen the new cheetahs yet?
No, but they looked really cute.
Yeah, I actually spent most of my time this weekend watching them on the Cheetah Cam on the Metro Zoo website.
Yeah, they're so small.
Hey, Vernon, and I hear you have some exciting news about the next show.
I do, Rebecca. Be sure to tune in to our next show on November 29th. We'll now have an exclusive interview with VCU head basketball coach Shaka Smart.
And that's it for this edition of VCU InSight. Make sure to check us out on our website at insight.vcu.edu.
You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under VCU InSight. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Joel Rose.
And I'm Rebecca Hayslip. We'll see you next time.